Hello YouTube, I decided to do another mobile vlog. You are again welcomed into my car with me. I thought I'd share, I'm sure a lot of you saw in the news that Judge Walker's decided on the 18th marriage certificates for gay couples can again be issued in the state of California. Which is good, because he's basically found that the opponents don't have an argument of how allowing such actions would actually harm them. And if they don't file what's the word I'm looking for? Appeal. Sorry for the brain fart there. An appeal by the 18th. Then the licenses will start to be issued. I think this is good news, coupled with the news I've seen about how potentially the group that's fought the case to start with against the repeal might not actually be able to file an appeal because they aren't those listed as the defendants in the case, which would be the officials for the state of California, which have decided not to step in to defend the ban on same-sex marriage. Now, in the long run, if that happens, that would probably be a good thing for the state of California because it would protect their marriage rights. On the other hand, it is kind of disappointing to think that there's not possibly the easy solution to gaining marriage equality throughout the whole country by it making its way up to the Supreme Court. And instead having to do the very long, drawn-out political battles and hoping not to lose rights when they're granted by actions at the polls. Because we're still not at the point where we'll win at the polls, even though we deserve the equal rights. I find that sort of frustrating. One would imagine that you should have to win at the polls, even though in quite a few states you wind up having to. Like Washington, for example. It was hard, but we won the right to an everything but marriage civil union, which is basically everything but the word, and then that precludes us from getting any of the federal benefits that come from the word marriage. Along with other protections, as well as the Defense of Marriage Act gets struck down at some point in the future, nationally, which it should, as well as, well, if it gets struck down in Washington State, then we'd be able to have marriage, which would be another story completely. But I imagine that might be getting a bit ahead of ourselves, since the majority still only favors full civil unions and not marriage. Which is a step closer than it was before, and it puts majority of people believing in marriage type rights for LGBT people in Washington State, which is quite an achievement compared to when Washington State's Defense of Marriage Act was enacted. However, there's also the worry that come this election cycle, more conservative Republicans will wind up in the federal government, and they have a strong desire, amongst other things, to codify in the Constitution and through national law a ban on same-sex marriage and equal rights as well. this is by far the more concerning thing, at least to me, because that will make it all the much harder to gain equal rights without having to possibly resort to leaving the country or getting the Supreme Court to denounce a new amendment to the Constitution, which I don't think is very likely on a national level. Even though it is extremely difficult to pass amendments to the Constitution, if they get their base riled up enough, it always is a possibility, even in this day and age. It should be a crying shame. I get quite annoyed with the whole public debate part of this issue. It's something I feel shouldn't be up for public debate and should never have been up for public debate, and the equal rights should always be granted. My rights should not be up to the uncomfortable feelings of others at the idea of same-sex marriage or the moral objections of others. Because quite a few of them seem to also be the same people who are willing to go up to you in public and be rude, to be insulting, or to even have the gall to go into places of business and trap employees by having them help them with things, and then start preaching at them, not just about that, but about religion in general. Even if the person, like, for example, me, is religious. Got a great example of that. One day I was at work, and the place I work in the sort of home improvement area, so I cut keys, I mix paint, I do all that sort of stuff. And this guy, I'm making a key for him because he needed keys made, and he starts preaching to me. Mind you, I'm basically trying to brush him off politely by just going, and just sort of basically not replying at all. And I make 3 or 4 keys, finish doing that, because that takes a few minutes, each key, and he's still going. And he will not leave me alone. I give him the keys. He asked me a couple other directions on where a couple other items are. I give them to him. He continues to badger me with one of his questions being, "What would you say to Jesus if you died right now?" To which I gave just a really bland answer after he wouldn't sort of take the hint that I was not going to keep talking to him and continued to push the issue. So I gave sort of a really bland, generic answer. And then he went on to give his overblown answer that had the quote that is supposed to be oh so inspiring and oh so sort of aha moment type of quote, which it really wasn't. It is stupid, it is annoying, but he kept going. So then I have another customer that needs help, so I'm like, thank God I'm going to be done with this guy. So I go and help that customer. While I'm done helping that person, he's standing there asking for me to show him where something else on his list is, so I have to take and show him where it is the entire time, and going on and on preaching again, this time about, oh, he's the pastor of a church, I should come to the church socials and that, because, they're better than Kagers, and you won't believe me, but they're better than Kagers with the college cheer team. The whole time I'm thinking, I don't care, and let alone why would I be at a Kager with the college cheer team? I don't want to be with them. And I basically sort of wanted to yell that at him, but you can't. It's not polite, and it's not good customer service to yell at your customer. Well, then I get another customer that needs help, and it's like, yay, because he sort of walks away. And this customer is looking for something, and I need to check in the back for it because we're out on the shelf. So I'm going to check in the back, and the guy comes add a dash at me to keep talking. Only this time his opening sentence is, he has a very homosexual voice. Oh, that is not the right thing for him to say. At that point, I just sort of wanted to yell at him, so what? And he continues on, don't ever let anyone tell you are. Unless you want to go to hell. I'm thinking, oh, just shut up now. But he doesn't. He keeps going, and he continues to go on about how he's preached people out of that horrible lifestyle that they're trying to teach others and preach to others. I just wanted to yell at him. It's not a lifestyle. It's not something you preach others. It's how you're created by God. So why don't you leave me alone? Luckily, the customer I was trying to check in the back for the product on finally shows up again and asked if I'm going to check on the products for her. So I finally am able to get away from the guy. And then I wait in the stockroom for a little bit, even though I've checked and the product's not there, just to be sure that one guy's actually left. It's like, those seem to be the types of people that feel inclined to decide what's moral and what's not, and then want to force their decisions and their interpretations on the rest of us. It's like, I don't see why they should have the right to vote on anyone's rights. I shouldn't have the right to vote on other people's rights. They shouldn't have the right to vote on other people's rights. I just find it ridiculous. That, and I don't like being preached at and when I'm at work, when you've got me cornered because I'm supposed to be helping you. Because I've got to be polite to you. I can't tell you that I don't give a fuck, that you're just an asshole and go away. And especially when you won't go away when I direct you to things, it's like, just leave, because usually that works pretty well with annoying people. If you tell them where the product they want is and you direct them to the furthest one away, they aren't going to come back to bother you, but these people seem to. I can't figure out what the heck about me screams I need saving, but that's for a different story. But yeah.